Hey, what's up guys? It's Marf and welcome back to another video. Before I start talking, I just wanted to apologize for my recent lack in uploads. I know I always do this sort of thing, but I've been very busy lately, and hopefully as the summer goes on, I will have more time to make videos. I have a couple of ideas planned, but for now I just want to try and get some videos out. But as you guys know, whenever I make a video, I try and make something that actually means something. You know, I don't want to just like crap posts, except for some of the really crappy memes that I sometimes post every once in a while. But besides that, whenever I make a video, I try and make it worthwhile for you to watch. So that's why I usually don't upload unless it's like, you know, something that I think is important to talk about. But anyway, today I wanted to talk about Racing Bliss. If you don't know what Racing Bliss is, it's that feeling you get when you play a racing game. Well, I mean, really any game, but for me, it's more racing than it is other genres. But let's say I'm playing a Need for Speed game and they have an open world option, and I'm just, you know, driving in a, you know, let's say a Koenigsegg or a Pagani, and I'm just driving down, like, let's say a Sunset Boulevard or something like that, you know, where I can see the ocean, and I'm just cruising at like 150 miles an hour, and the music is pumping, and I'm just super immersed in the game. I'm not worried about any objectives. I'm not worried about currency. That's what I consider to be Racing Bliss. And from my experience, it's really been sort of taken out of games as the years have gone by. I think the most obvious example of that would be Asphalt. And I know I talk about Asphalt a lot, but it's the most obvious example of this. But I wanted to talk about other games as well as examples. But I've noticed that a lot of games these days, especially racing games, they always try and go for that one and done deal type of thing where you're in the race and then you're out of the race. You just want to complete an objective, or you just want to win the race to get currency or to get blueprints or whatever. It's not about the race itself. It's about advancing in a progression system and whatnot. And I feel like that sort of mindset of game design is more prevalent nowadays than it was, I would say, you know, maybe 10 years ago or whatever. Because 10 years ago when you play a game, or you played, because that's 10 years ago, you played a game because you wanted to play the game. And recently I've found that whenever I jump into Asphalt, it's more or less not to play the game. It's to obtain a car, or it's to get more currency. It's something outside of the game environment itself. And I've noticed that this idea of Racing Bliss and this idea of being immersed into a game has just kind of been lost over the years. And I wanted to talk about why I feel like it should be reinstated and just introduced, you know, in a bigger way into current games, as opposed to, well, it not being there, because we've seen over the past couple of years that games have gone towards that more like instant gratification idea. So let me give you some examples of what I'm talking about when I say Racing Bliss. Now, the best example that I have is Need for Speed World. I've made a couple of videos on this game before, and I like to call it my happy place per se, because I have many fond memories of this game when it was active many years ago. But a community sort of revived the game called Soapbox Race World. But the point is that Need for Speed World is a massively multiplayer online game, but it's an open world game, and the music is great. And I find myself every once in a while when I'm bored, or I just want to feel something, I guess you could say, I jump onto that game. Basically, my point is that experiencing the open world with the music behind you, and I'll show footage of what I'm talking about, and you just see the lighting and the world around you, and you just drive, and it's just an experience that immerses you into a new world. Or whether or not that's new or not, I mean, you can totally memorize the entirety of the Need for Speed World map and still be completely immersed like I am. But basically my point is that you're not worried about objectives, you're not worried about racing, you're not worried about, you know, currency and whatnot. You're just in the moment, and I feel like a lot of games these days lack that. I mean, obviously mobile games lack that. I mean, with Asphalt 9, I feel like the average race is about a minute. With Need for Speed No Limits, the average race is like 30 seconds. It feels more like a drag race than it does anything else. And that experience of being immersed into a world and just driving for the pure pleasure of driving is just completely lost. And now, of course, Asphalt has had the same sort of gameplay mechanics for a very long time, since the beginning of Asphalt. I mean, we've had laps, you know, different cars and sometimes tricks and whatnot. But when I played a game like Asphalt 6, the game gave you some time to just experience the world and the music and just drive, you know. with Asphalt 9, you're constantly paying attention to the track and the tricks and timing and nitro and all that stuff, whereas in a game like Asphalt 6, every once in a while there'd be a long stretch of road where you could just drive and have fun and just be immersed in the track and enjoy the scenery and whatnot. And I feel like that really needs to come back, and I think that's something that Gameloft and a lot of other development studios have overlooked with the past couple years. And I just wanted to talk about this because I wanted to bring it up and make sure that you guys are aware that, I mean, you don't have to constantly worry about currencies and cars and all that stuff when you're playing a racing game. I feel like a lot of people these days who have started gaming with games like Asphalt 9 have never experienced this like true racing bliss, this pleasure that I'm talking about, and I just want to make sure that some of you guys are at least aware of this. And also I just wanted to talk about this because frankly I just wanted it to be more well known. So if you haven't already, I definitely recommend checking out an open world racing game like basically most of the Need for Speeds, but there aren't a lot of open world racing games on mobile. The only ones that I would consider open world that are kind of racing would be like the Gangster and Grand Theft Auto games, but really those aren't racing per se. And what I'm talking about is just being yourself in a car, not worrying about like a player or like a character like you would in Grand Theft Auto or another game like that. I'm talking about a pure racing game where you just drive, you know what I mean? So yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you guys think of this whole idea of like this racing bliss, and being immersed into a game and whatnot. So yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.